Hey guys, this is May, and I am talking to you from my house in New Orleans, excuse me, which is a dollhouse, Victorian house from the late 1800s. And it is on the streetcar line on world famous Canal Street, not far from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter. And the only reason why I add that, it's not totally relevant, but in a way it is, as I am seventh generation. It has influenced me, I'm sure, my upbringing in New Orleans and my lineage has certainly got something to do with who I am as someone who is there some sort of receiver, and I share that with you, right? And it's about language. A lot of it is about language, and it's also about the zodiac. And I've been adding more of that into my videos, and I certainly wanted to talk about it for a minute today, and especially for one of my new friends on the channel named Regina. And I was glad that she's intrigued by it. And in New Orleans, people that are clairvoyant, psychic, this sort of thing is obviously really common here. It's called the City of the Dead, and the reason why is from the yellow fever, the graves, the bodies came up, and so we have only above ground cemeteries. And another interesting aspect of that is that I'm right in the center. I'm surrounded by cemeteries and actually a funeral home. I don't think that any of that is ironic. But so the cemeteries that I'm near, and there's a mortuary right across the street, which is now a museum, and they do haunted stuff, and I haven't actually gone in there, but it's right across the street. And the cemetery is a Freemason cemetery. And believe it or not, for those of you who more advanced truthers, when I say this, you'll know what I mean when I say this. Right across the street from the cemetery, which is fascinating to me, is a restaurant, Italian restaurant called G's. Now, a lot of normies would never pick up on that. I'm positive they'll never figure that out. But it's right across from the Freemason cemetery. And just a block from that, and just a couple blocks from my house, is the Masonic Lodge, the Germanic sect lodge, and it was from, I believe, 1919. So, so it's very interesting place, and that's not what this video is about. But what I want to talk about for just a second is, and it's really weird because it's like 31 degrees down here, which is unusual, by the way. 31, 33, 31. So, as I was saying, so this video is about Aquarius. It's about Saturn, it's about the zodiac, but it's about language as well. And if you don't know a lot about the zodiac, that's okay, because you don't have to understand this. And anything I tell you about the zodiac or astrology is going to be where you can understand it, not too complicated. There's so many astrology channels. Oh my God, it's overwhelming. And most of them appear to be, if not all, heliocentric based rather than based on frequency, plane of consciousness, plane of existence, the flat earth model, which from what I've learned from the master astrologers that do support the geocentric model, what I have learned is that there's only subtle differences. So there are some slight differences, and this is a consensus from about four major astrologers. So that do believe in the geocentric, model. So that's the only ones that I feel the most confidence in, and that could be the closest to accurate. And even if it is only subtle differences, here's the point, is that you want an astrologer or someone talking to you about the zodiac who believes that you're on a stationary plane, right? I mean, or at the very least, even, yeah, just stationary, but most of us at this point don't buy into the NASA thing. So, maybe not everyone agrees on what the shape is. Is it a shape, or is it just, that you're in a plane of consciousness or a plane of existence, which that's what I think. It's just the ether and frequency. So let me get to this real quick. So Aquarius, now, I think that the timeline that they give us is a deception, obviously, like everything else. So they say that we're gradually, entering into the Age of Aquarius. However, I'm hard pressed to believe that we're already there. If anything, even if we're not, it's all the arrows are pointing, in the last century. How am I going to illustrate this for you? Well, okay, let me give you some examples of the fact that I believe that we're already there. And if not, then it's been a hard push since even the last century. So Aquarius is not a water sign, it's an air sign, and can be deceiving as that it throws the water, right? So now in Aquarius, in the air sign, we have the advent of technology in the last century. And technology is air, right? I mean, what did they say even back in radio days? Live on air, right? So this is attributed to Saturn and to Aquarius. Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. So live on air, okay, which is related to technology. And then you've got that, and then you've got the black oil and fuels. And Saturn rules that's Saturn, the oil and the agriculture and what's under the ground. This is Saturn. So you've got the fossil fuels and the advent of cars and running on fuels and the oil, big oil. So you've got that in the air. And what else happened related to the air? Obviously, as a flight attendant, that's an easy one for me. But it's air, it's aviation, right? It's airplanes. So that was also in the last century, which is when I think the push really began. So you've got that with Aquarius. But then what's really happened more recently in the last few years that shows us who's in charge as far as Saturn and Aquarius? Okay, I'm going to give you a couple examples. This is going to be easy. So what happened in 2019, right? Now, around that time, Jupiter and Saturn, who are actually they are in opposition to each other. Well, Jupiter is considered benefic, and Saturn is malefic. So, and all that means is benefic is attributed to good, and malefic is bad, and neither one are all good or bad as far as their attributes go. And these are waveforms. They're not the way that we were taught growing up. I'm trying to be careful with my verbiage with what I say. So the waveforms, the frequencies, the archons, which are the 7 planets. Okay, so there's Jupiter and Saturn, and they were conjunct in December 21st, 2020. And this is very interesting, is considering everything we went through in 2020. And also, more importantly, at March 21st, Saturn entered Aquarius. So do you remember back then what was going on? Does that time frame ring a bell? I'm sure it does. So, for one thing, towers were going up in the air while we weren't looking, okay? That's technology, that's related to Saturn. Then also, what were we wearing or we were told to wear, not all of us listen, we were cutting off our air supply, right? And the actual condition that I'm not going to say the name of, the actual condition itself is related to air, is it not? You know, lungs, pulmonary, or pneumatic type illnesses, right? So this is related to air, and this was in 2019, 2020 time frame. And also around this time, actually, I should say that that was a little bit after this time. If you guys remember, so if you look at if you remember when there was the kneeling, how they would kneel down on the football fields. Justin Trudeau and some others would kneel down on the football fields on their left knee. The politicians were doing this. So if you look at the symbol of Aquarius, the human symbol, he's on his left knee, and this is a homage to Aquarius when they were doing that ridiculous knee thing, right? Hopefully you remember that. It wasn't that long ago, a few years ago, a couple years ago, and it may still be going on to some degree because they like to do nonsense and string it along. I'm not sure. So the knee, okay, I'm going to put an image here of Aquarius. That is a signal to Saturn, to Aquarius, okay? What they like to do is they like to use humans as a way for entertainment. They mock us, and they want us to carry out their symbolism and their messages, and they do this to send signals and symbols to one another in the elite cult group, right? Which expands all over the realm. But so what I'm getting at is this is a lot of the things that you'll see that they'll promote, whether it's different types of protests, mannerisms, hand gestures. Those are easy. So, but this is they do it through through movies, and when they were doing this kneeling thing, okay, this was a signal to Saturn and to Aquarius. This is who they worship. And there's a great book that I read a couple years ago, and I pulled it out again, called The Cult of the Black Cube, for those interested, if you'd like to know more about their dealings and their rituals. And it's pretty weird because I'm pretty certain that the people that I've flown over the years, that most of society will never see in person, I've dealt with in a very close capacity in my job, which is a lot of the reason why I'm still incognito, because I still work for the elite. But it certainly granted me a unique perspective, and that's why I created this channel. So anyway, Aquarius, that's where we are. And so the zodiac, another thing is with the zodiac is it's in movies a lot. And there's a movie right now on Netflix, Wake Up Dead Man. It's all zodiac. It's all zodiac. And the only reason why I occasionally watch these films is the symbolism. I find it fascinating, and I can pick up on almost everything that they are saying and doing. In the symbols, you'll see a lot of circles, a lot of rings. Okay, you'll see a lot that's attributed to the zodiac, and I also believe it's attributed to the ring around our plane, like a ring of control. The Ring, right? Wasn't there a movie called The Ring? So so what I'm saying is the Wake Up Dead Man. It's Agatha Christie. Of course, it's always going to be about murder, and they've always got to have someone vomiting, don't they, and a bunch of blood. And so this is about a priest being killed, and so he represents Saturn. And then it's about the fall of the sun and Jupiter and the different houses. Leo is in there. Everything is obvious to me. To most, I don't think they would pick up on it. But there's so much zodiac symbolism. And that they worship not just Saturn, but the entire zodiac, meaning, they worship Mercury, Hermes, Mars, Venus. So anyway, if you watch that movie, Wake Up Dead Man, you'll see it's interesting because it's so silly, some of the stuff about the fall of the sun, and then they'll say he's spinning out of control. Talking about a person. Yeah, you're talking about the sun. So, and how Saturn is dead, and he's dead inside of a box, but it's really the man, the priest, but it represents Saturn. And also another thing I want to say is interesting in this movie is the priests, and of course how they wear the little white cube. You don't hear a lot of people talking about that little white cube, which is an inversion because they worship the black cube. I don't hear many talking about that, but that's what that represents. The priest wearing the white cube is actually the black cube because it's an inversion. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop here in a second. I don't want to, because I don't want to be long-winded or too long where I don't hold your attention enough, and I just want you to think about this Aquarius in that we've entered. And the QR code, QR is, I believe, related to Aquarius, okay? And that's part of, turning the humans more into the digital. And I also believe that we have a type of antenna above our head, like an invisible antenna. Yeah, oh, that sounds crazy. No, it's not. Um, where did it come from? I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe we've always had it, but we have a type of receiver in the brain. And so this is how you'll notice a lot of normies are so downloaded. They're so programmed. You can't get through, you can't, they can't register this stuff. So, yeah, there's some type of receiver going on. It's not inside of us. It's outside of us. It's in the etheric energy. We have a body area network, if you will. Some people call it an aura. There's different words, but it is an energy surrounding us for many feet. And there's a receiver there. I'm positive, absolutely 100% positive. And some people are completely downloaded, and so, but there are those of us who get other types of messages. We're tapped into a different frequency. Maybe it's the 33.3 frequency. So anyway, so this is about Aquarius and the zodiac, and I have a lot more to say on the zodiac. One last thing before I go, if you look at the two first letters of the word zodiac, it is Oz, like Wizard of Oz, okay? Zodiac. Also, zodiac, Z-O, is like similar to zoo, and what's in the sky in the constellations, it's like humans, animals, right? So, anyway, that's just interesting, right? People are always saying Oz. Even, isn't there Dr. Oz? Yeah. Oh, God. I mean, they know all this stuff, guys. I mean, they've got the handbooks. They've got everything. And it's not a real world place. It's a holographic system. But they do, the only difference between them, like the people that I have worked with over the last 2 decades, and those of us living inside the system, the difference is just knowledge. That's the difference. It's knowledge. And knowledge is power. But we have that. So we have that. And one reason why I do this channel is to connect to you guys. And, we are figuring this thing out. So maybe we don't have the handbook, the 33-degree level handbook, but we're still figuring it out. But the zodiac is real important, and we are in Aquarius, and it's ruled by Saturn. And right now, on the 15th, Mars has entered into Capricorn. You know, there with, and that's Saturn's. That's where Saturn's. That's his house. He rules that house. Mars is interesting too, because if you, the M and the W I have found to be totally inverted. W's are M's, M's are W's, and Mars is war, right? Wars, Mars, and he is malefic, and he's think of it, I guess, like a little badass, and but he's not Saturn, but he creates trouble, but also he can give us, as he enters Capricorn now, he does help you to take a closer look at your goals and find strength, because you need it with this entering. We're in the dark days of Saturnalia, the short dark days approaching the winter solstice, and people can be difficult, right? You can there's hidden enemies, right, and people that don't have your best interest at heart. So this, it's a great time, and it's a time for connection and kinship and celebrations, which have nothing to do with what we're told they do. But it is Saturnalia, and there's challenges. But so we get through it, and that's what I want to say about Aquarius. Please keep that in mind. You're given the clues that that is the ruler is Saturn, and this is the time of Aquarius. This is the age, and you've been shown that with air and with the corona, which is also Corona Borealis, and the constellations in the sky. I think it's number 48 of 88. You got Corona Borealis, and so this is you with the if I can say that word, the masks, and cut off the air, and technology, the black cube on the phone, the TV. All of this has been shown to you, and this is the proof. I hope that I have illustrated this well, that this is the age of Aquarius as far as I'm concerned. I don't care what they say. I mean, we're already in it. We're deep in it. Knee deep in it. Okay, happy Saturnalia to you guys, and I look forward to the next one. I'd love to see your comments. Thanks so much for listening.